Hey, everybody. Welcome back. This week, we are going to talk about mental training and the things that you could do as an athlete to make yourself a better and more confident athlete. And this is valid for anyone from a very beginner level all the way through advanced professional athletes. Now, experienced athletes may have heard some of this or read some of this along the way. Usually, good coaches will impart this knowledge to their teams as they go along. But controlling your brain is a big part of success in athletics. And we're going to go down a list. It's not comprehensive, but these are some of the main points that will be helpful to you as you go through your athletic journey. Number one is positive self talk. And this is not in order, it's just a order. Positive self-talk or daily reminders is one simple way that you can turn your worldview around. So anytime you wake up, you say, today's going to be a good day. Now, I'm not one of these people that's going to talk about manifesting stuff because I think that's a lot of hooah, but believing that you're going to have a good day is going to make it much more likely that you will have a good day. That's one example. When you're in training, saying, I am strong, I am good, I belong here, right? There's a whole thing about imposter syndrome, like you're at a group ride and all of a sudden you're surrounded by really good athletes, like, oh my gosh, I don't belong here. Not true. If you've trained to that level, you do belong. It's okay, right? So little bits of positive self-talk like that along the way are super helpful. The way I like to start is honestly, how do you think when you wake up in the morning? Do you wake up and say, "Oh my God, it's another day. How am I going to get through it?" Or do you wake up and say, and literally, today's going to be a good day. I'm going to have a nice workout in the morning. I'm going to be successful and, diligent at work, and I'm going to spend quality time with my family at the end of the day. And those little bits, if you can turn those day in and day out, are going to be really, really helpful in the long term, not just for athletics, but for your outlook on life in general. And our outlook on life in general affects our ability to be an athlete. So, daily affirmations, positive self talk. For those of you that find yourselves beating yourselves up constantly, like, oh man, I didn't do it right. Oh man, I'm stupid. You have to short circuit those thoughts. And almost 100% of people are their own worst critic. There's always going to be that rare individual that, believes they're the best at everything, but that's a different type of person. So you need to be not just a critic of yourself, a valid, true critic of yourself, but you also need to be your biggest cheerleader, because ultimately it's you living inside your head that has to get you through whatever you're doing. So be positive. Another really good one is visualization. So it could be an entire subject, and I'm sure there's people who have written a lot about this as well as done little podcasts like this. But there's two forms of visualization. The first one I want to go over is the positive visualization, where you sit down and mentally rehearse your performance before you go to the race. So you see yourself at the starting line, you see yourself in the swim, you're meeting with success along the way. Things go well throughout the race. You rehearse your timing of your nutrition, all of that. And you don't have to do a 10-hour simulation in your head for a 10-hour Ironman, but condense it down and walk through those steps. Now, the second form is also important, and I was not aware of this, but I've talked about it. But apparently, like an ancient warrior group used to see all the possible bad consequences. They would visualize defeat. They would visualize getting injured and, damaged in battle, so that when they went into battle, they had no fear. So rehearsing through some of the negative things that could happen to you in a triathlon can be very helpful. What happens if you get dunked in the swim? What happens if you get a flat tire on the bike? What happens if you get behind on your nutrition? Do you stop and give up? Or do you say, okay, I got to slow down for a while, try and catch back up with my hydration and nutrition and move on? So walking through some of the possible negative things that can happen in a race prepares you to deal with those things. So both positive visualization and negative visualization can be equally helpful. The daily reminders I talked about, but another way of viewing the daily reminder is to literally put your goal on your bathroom mirror. You've probably heard this before, but this one is very helpful as well, where every day you are forced to face your goal. Are you meeting the demands of work to meet that goal, or are you falling behind? So this is like an honest assessment moment where you say, okay, my goal is to do an Ironman this year. That means today I need to do my workout, right? So you have to face the music. There's no free lunch. There's no easy way to do some of these harder events. So you need to do the day in and day out work. So having a reminder can be very helpful. The mental toughness it's a whole subject, but some of the things that we talk about with mental toughness, and this is where I have to put my glasses on because my list is not in big print. So we all know somebody who is inherently mentally tough, where they have I don't give up, I'm going to do this, nothing's going to stop me attitude. And that is somewhat inherent, but it can be trained as well. Part of it is the positive self-talk that we have already discussed. And then part of it is just making yourself do things that are somewhat difficult on a daily basis to the point where it's no longer difficult for you. It's part of your routine. So, having the confidence to know that you are capable of doing hard things becomes a component of mental toughness. The ability to remain centered and focused when things are going awry or wrong is very helpful as well. So there's a whole lot of noise in the world, right? When all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, losing their heads and blaming it on you, you need to remain calm. So being mentally tough is being able to process things and find a way through and out of those situations if the situation is bad, as well as resilience. Resilience is a general word for the ability to bounce back. So, can you bounce back daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, and continue to move forward? And remember that you're in control. With mental toughness, there are some things in the world that we don't have control over, but if you can find an internal focus of control or locus of control, that means that you can impact your immediate world, right? So remember that the decisions you make are controlling you. And it's a feedback loop of saying, I can do things, I'm going to go out and do this. And that becomes a habit. So making these habits help with your mental toughness. Positive people. So there are people in the world, and some of them are positive. They will encourage you. They will support you. They will help you. And then there are others who are not that. So if you're surrounded or in a peer group full of negative Nancys or negative Nellies, you might need to change your peer group. Now, we don't want to live in an echo chamber where everybody says you're the best, and you get no true feedback. But we do want to be around people that encourage us to do the things that we want to pursue. So it's important to find people to support you. They don't have to be 100% rah-rah cheerleaders, but they need to bolster your belief in yourself. So that can be very helpful. That's a little bit separate from your internal mental game, but it will improve your mental game. And a final point is when you are doing all this stuff and you're doing your daily routine, you're being positive, you're going out, you're getting your training done. Don't forget to stop and reward yourself once in a while. Don't forget to stop and say, Marty, you did a good job today. I'm proud of you, right? Because again, we got to go back to that. You are your main cheerleader. And if you never hear positive feedback from you, it's going to have an impact. So at the end of a good day, say, good job, me, right? So going back down through that list, little summary: positive self-talk, daily affirmations, visualization practice. I struggle saying that word. And that doesn't have to be daily, but 10 minutes here and there where you sit down and clear your mind and focus on visualizing your event. The daily reminders with a little note on the mirror or something along those lines. Mental toughness practice. And I put a couple links down below that have a more comprehensive write-up on that. And then positive people and rewards. So that's a little bit of a summary of some of the mental game that goes into endurance athletics as well as other sports. This one is about some of the Ironman training you might consider. And this is us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.